RT International. A hacker from the anonymous group faces as much as 16 years in prison for allegedly helping to expose the rape of a minor by high school football players. The perpetrators, however, have already walked free. Here is the video that reportedly shows Derek Lostutter disclosing the case.
The party took place in a small town in Ohio known as Steubenville. At this party are a list of men named in the preliminary docs below who took part in the kidnapping and rape of a 15-year-old girl. This video is to document the proof for the masses. The town of Steubenville has been good at keeping this quiet and their star football team protected.
Allegations show that his revelations exposed the rapist sharing posts on social media joking about the victim. 2 students were convicted and sentenced to juvenile detention. One of them served 2 years, the other 10 months. But Derek Lostutter himself is facing trial on many counts, including libel and invasion of privacy. Trial set for November the 8th. Now, we talked to Lostutter's attorney about the case.
Derek was just arraigned last week. He pleaded not guilty, and currently this case is scheduled to go to trial on November 8th, and our pretrial motions are due basically in the middle of October. I think this particular law, the Computer Fraud and Abuse Act, needs to seriously be reformed. I feel like it's too poorly written, it's vague, it's ambiguous, and it gives too much leeway to prosecutors to bring very, very harsh cases where the conduct doesn't warrant the kind of punishment that they're seeking.
2016 set to become the deadliest year so far for refugees crossing the Mediterranean to Europe. Latest figures from the International Organization for Migration show the overall number of asylum seekers declining, but a growing number of victims drowning at sea. And Europe still remains divided over how to deal with the migrant problem. In Germany, a member of parliament for the Left Party, Dieter Demm, faces a police investigation after smuggling a migrant into the country in his car. The politician first hid the African refugee at his holiday home and then drove him over the border into Germany. Officials are investigating this after he posted that picture right there, what looks like a migrant in the boot of his car. Mr. Demm says he has no regrets.
I found a person who didn't sleep, who had no mother anymore. She was dead, and he's coming from a country with a civil war, and he had only one T-shirt and 1 trousers. I thought of our Constitution with the first article, and there's not written the dignity of a German must not be hurt, but there's written the dignity of a human being must not be hurt. And so I think in this case we all can be happy that he is now in Germany.
However, others are taking the opposite approach to the issue, with right-wing vigilante groups springing up across the EU. That man in Bulgaria, he's becoming a celebrity now for actually personally patrolling the border to prevent illegal crossings. Now, the German Chancellor Angela Merkel bearing the brunt of the criticism for her open-door policy. And in the latest bid to ease tensions, she's now urged the country's top corporations to hire more migrants. Here's Peter Oliver.
Hundreds of thousands of people have come here to Germany this year, on top of the over 1 million that arrived in 2015, most of them living in refugee housing like this just behind me. But when it comes to employment, only 54 have been able to find jobs with Germany's top 30 companies, and 50 of those are with the post office. Now, that's why Angela Merkel has called in Germany's blue-chip company executives to try and convince them that they should hire more refugees. Well, there's around 300,000 refugees that are listed, according to government statistics, as currently seeking employment. The problem for Angela Merkel when it comes to convincing Germany's top bosses to hire more refugees is when it comes to qualifications and language skills. That's reflected in the government's own figures. 74% have no vocational training, and a quarter don't have a school-leaving certificate, with only 9% having completed higher education. Of a bigger worry, perhaps, is those that aren't looking for work. The Federal Employment Agency say that some 131,000 people who have refugee status are not just unemployed, but are not taking any of the courses or training programs that are on offer. All while Germany's spending on benefits has more than doubled to over 5 billion last year.
Merkel could, of course, as she's already doing, put more pressure on politically correct managers to hire more refugees or so-called refugees. She could pay subsidies, she could even pay wages, social benefit support for those companies hiring. And all this is already happening, paid for by the German taxpayer, of course. And of course, Merkel can also make her state-owned businesses hire, which she is doing.
So Germany's top industrialists may need some convincing if they're to help Mrs. Merkel with this particular problem. Peter Oliver, RT, Berlin.